You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Last week, an MSU poll showed that the majority of Montanans were pleased with Governor Steve Bullock's actions when it came to containing the spread of the coronavirus. However, one group is claiming Governor Bullock's coronavirus restrictions went too far and will have a long-term negative effect on the state's economy. That group met with business owners in Deer Lodge today to hear their concerns. MTN's John Amy has the story.
Some people are taking aim at coronavirus policies they claim have gone too far, even to the point of violating constitutional rights.
These are God-given rights. We don't look to the government to give us those rights, so we're going to protect them.
Members of Start Montana, which refers to itself as a grassroots group that is critical of Governor Steve Bullock's coronavirus policy, stopped in Deer Lodge to hear concerns from some local business owners. Though Start claims to be nonpartisan, it does have support from state Republicans.
The voices of the people who operate businesses in Montana were not being heard, period. The governor was tone deaf to that.
Some Deer Lodge business owners are worried about the small town's economic future.
I mean, we've already seen 3, 4, 5 businesses in town not able to open back up. That's just going to continue.
Start Montana argues the governor overreacted to the coronavirus threat and has hurt the state's economy for a long time to come.
Why are we living in fear? Fear doesn't prevent you from dying. Fear prevents you from living, and that's what's happening to a lot of businesses here, and people are going to lose their businesses as a result of the decisions that were made.
And some people involved in this grassroots movement feel like they have the right to even defy the governor's executive order through civil disobedience.
Civil obedience does not mean any kind of violence whatsoever. It just means that at this point, we need to let people know that we're going to open up Main Street, we're going to open up our businesses right here in Deer Lodge.
In Deer Lodge, John Amy, MTN News.
The governor's office stated that the governor's actions were based on science and data, and his early efforts helped Montana maintain the lowest rate of cases per capita in the entire nation. The town of Lodgegrass is back under lockdown as the Lodgegrass mayor sends a strong message warning of dangers and threatening fines. Lodgegrass Mayor Quincy Dabney tells Q2 he's asking residents to only leave their homes for essential activities. This after a Lodgegrass resident tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. Dabney says people can still go to work and businesses open under Phase 1 can remain operational, but cruising the town and people moving between houses to visit friends is not allowed. Dabney tells us before the Lodgegrass case came to light, he was going to lessen his restrictions, but now he expects him to stay in place until at least the first week of June.
Basically starting our quarantine all over again. I just wanted to do that to really contain it. So before, we didn't want it to come in, and so now we're trying to isolate it with the case that is now in our town and keep it there.
Dabney says Lodgegrass hasn't had a police force since 1997, so he's taken up enforcement of his orders using an education-first approach. Today, the state reports 2 more confirmed COVID-19 cases across Montana. There are just 19 active cases of the 460 confirmed total. The map here does not reflect the Jefferson County case reported over the weekend. Jefferson County health officials tell us that man has not been in Montana for several weeks. In Wyoming, the state reports 3 new cases today, 2 in Fremont County, the other in Laramie County. This brings the Wyoming total to 513 confirmed cases, with 55 still active. President Trump and Montana Governor Steve Bullock both pushing for large-scale testing of nursing home residents and staff. It's a vulnerable population. I talked to the head of St. John's United today. He says he's grateful for the protective measures that our state took early, but as you might guess, there are still plenty of concerns.
I was heartbroken and I was fearful.
That was David Trost, the president and CEO of St. John's United reaction when he began to see the devastating toll COVID-19 was starting to take on many nursing homes across the nation, including one in Toole County, Montana, where an outbreak is responsible for almost half of the deaths in the state so far.
Something similar to that could so easily happen within a community like ours. No matter how many precautions we put into place, we're only one staff person, one guest, one resident going out to a grocery store away from a cascading effect of multiple people getting infected.
In the couple of months since COVID-19 became a part of all our lives, multiple changes have been made to limit visitors and screen everyone coming onto the campus.
You know, for our residents, they've been really pretty darn fantastic. They have been patient with us. They've been supportive of all of our interventions. They have been extremely compliant in making sure that the community stays safe. Actually, the hardest it has been is for families and friends. They are struggling more with being separated from their loved ones here.
Guidelines have recently been put into place to allow for some outdoor visits, and soon testing will begin for everyone. A huge task with 600 residents at St. John's and 700 staff.
For us, our testing will be done in phases. We'll start with our staff. And those are the folks that are most at risk in terms of being out in the community. And then we'll move to our residents, and we will complete the governor's goal of trying to have all the testing done of our nursing home and assisted living by as close to the end of the month as possible.
Trost says that they've been holding regular Zoom meetings with health officials and with other nursing homes and assisted living facilities in the area to figure out how they can help each other stay on top of this. Well, Montana Senators Jon Tester and Steve Daines are rolling out what's being called a rancher relief program. It's designed to help hard-hit Montana cattle producers get better prices and markets for their product. Tester is a co-sponsor of a bill to require large meat packers to buy at least half their cattle on the cash market. He's also pushing to include language in any upcoming coronavirus relief bills to allow Montana meat processors to sell their product outside the state. Senator Daines is a co-sponsor of the first bill and also signed on to the second initiative. Daines says the measure will help strengthen the food supply chain and encourage transparency in pricing. Both senators are renewing a push to reinstate country of origin labeling for meat produced in America. They say the labeling, which is opposed by big meat packers, will help Montana ranchers.
You can look at me, I eat a lot of meat, and I'll tell you, if I knew it was coming from the United States versus Brazil or Argentina, I'm picking up that package that has made in USA on it every time.
Tester and Daines hope there's enough bipartisan pressure on Senate leadership to take up these proposals. Well, Montana Fair 2020 will take place this August at the fairgrounds, but it remains a work in progress as to what that fair entails. In the meantime, Metro staff is busy prepping for the May 24th high school graduation ceremonies. Q2's Jay Cohn brings us a closer look.
The First Interstate Arena at Metro Park has been empty now for 8 weeks. An eerie silence, to say the least, especially for a place most of us associate with big crowds and lots of noise.
We haven't quite hit 8 weeks yet. It seems like 800 weeks if you're on our end of things, but it's only been about 8 weeks. That's where we've gone in Montana from case number 1 on the 13th of March to where we are today.
In just 12 days, the arena will open to the public for the first time since the pandemic shutdown, hosting high school graduation ceremonies for Billings Skyview, Senior, and West, with reserved seating for all ticket holders.
Seating will be 2s and then skip 2, 2, and then skip 2. Full rows like the one I'm sitting in right now will be empty between so that we can assure physical distancing on the part of people. They'll also receive masks when they come to the event. They will have temperature checks when they come to the event. So we're doing everything possible to make sure that when you come to the school district graduations for School District 2, that you're going to be safe. As safe as we can possibly make it. We can't wrap you in bubble wrap, but we're going to do the very best job we can.
Metro Park is also acquiring special backpack spray units so its staff can sanitize the entire arena in about an hour. Beyond graduation, Massey is focused on Montana Fair that starts August 7th. It's been happening in Billings every summer for the past 105 years. But Massey says this year they're working to take the fair back to its original roots.
We're really focusing on agriculture is essential, and fairs are essential to agriculture. So we're working to expand the ag footprint for this year's Montana Fair, and with 87 days to go, we're scrambling a little bit because, as you know, everything changes every day as far as this business is concerned.
And while Massey says there will be entertainment at this year's Montana Fair, no word yet on what that will entail. Night shows won't be happening, nor will there be any headline music. Speaking of music, 3 big concerts are set for the First Interstate Arena beginning this fall. Toby Keith in September, followed by Cher, then Luke Combs. But currently all those events are in limbo while health officials determine what is and isn't possible in this new COVID-19 world. In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
All right, thank you, Jay. And as far as the carnival at this year's fair, Massey tells us he's been in contact with the carnival operator who believes they can make a go of it, even assuming that attendance will likely be less than half of normal. The final approval, however, rests with the county health officer. Well, high schools across the area are gearing up for their after-graduation parties and celebrations. One of those high schools is Skyview, which is planning a parade right after graduation on May 24th at 11 a.m. That parade will start at the Metro. The chair and treasurer of Skyview's Falcon Finale says the committee decided to do the parade as an alternative way to hold an after party for the students and give them the homecoming parade they missed out on this year. Skyview has also teamed up with Master Lube to put on a virtual car wash, which started last Friday.
So kind of trying to, make sure if anybody wants to help, we're open and available to any ways in receiving that help. And we kind of just track that through our Facebook event. We post some updates and some totals, and we've really reached out to just the Heights community as a whole.
Melcher says they are trying to promote the sense of Skyview Strong and hope people will help support the graduates and donate money for the parade. To learn more, you can visit the 2020 Falcon Finale Facebook page. Even with Yellowstone National Park closed, people can still break the law and put themselves in danger. A woman who entered Yellowstone illegally this morning was badly burned after falling into a thermal feature. Park officials say the woman was backing up to take a photo near Old Faithful and fell. It's unclear exactly which hot spring or other features she may have stumbled into. The woman then drove north toward Mammoth, where she was stopped by park rangers and then flown to an Idaho hospital. Yellowstone has been closed to visitors since March 30th due to the coronavirus. Glacier National Park remains without a timeline for reopening. A representative from the park told MTN that they have not been given any tentative dates for letting people back into the park. However, when it does reopen, people should be prepared to only be able to park in designated areas and only have access to marked trails. There's also the possibility that restrooms and other facilities will have limited or no access when the park first opens back up. The NPS also released a statement saying the Department of the Interior and the National Park Service are working on a comprehensive plan to reopen closed facilities and lands when appropriate and in accordance with public health guidelines. They will also ask people to maintain a social distance of 6 feet from each other when the park does reopen again. Still to come on tonight's 9 o'clock news, email controversy, the latest on the investigation into the unauthorized release of the Public Service Commissioner's emails. But first, Bob McGuire's in next with your full 7-day forecast.